This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. You're listening to a section of the LibriVox NaNoWriMo project, in which a number of LibriVox volunteers write and record a whole novel together in serial form during November 2006. The project is based on the idea started by the National Novel Writing Month. Chapter 19. Written by Laura M.D. Recorded by Esther. Trevor looked in astonishment at the strange symbol that appeared so vividly under the light. The cross had no significance to him. It was a simple, definite design. However, it was the Latin words following that intrigued him. Having no knowledge of Latin whatsoever, he turned to Shanna. She smiled. "It's the motto for the Knights of Malta." Trevor nodded. He sat back in his chair, wiping his hot face with his cool hands. "Oh, and there's something else underneath this." Trevor sat back up. Shanna quickly read what was written underneath the cross. As she read, he could see a sharp stab of fear flying across her face. She gulped loudly. "Trevor," she whispered under her breath. Trevor became fidgety. "What does it say?" She looked at him with scared eyes, before pushing the papyrus towards him. He gasped as he read what was scrawled underneath. "I'm being held hostage. Help." Red looked at the bleary-eyed Tracy as she stared out the window. She felt pangs of sympathy for this distraught girl. "Shall I make you something to drink? A cup of coffee, maybe?" Tracy nodded, and Red slipped out of the room. Once the door was firmly closed, Tracy quickly engaged in a satellite conversation via earpiece to Global Headquarters. "This is Top, Authorization Gamma Charlie 09er. How did the elimination of T go?" The reply was quick. "Unsuccessful. Accomplice killed, but T managed to get away. We do, however, have news on his sister. She escaped. Repeat, Tracy Ames has escaped from captivity." The news was shocking to Top. She knew Tracy was smart, but she didn't realize that she was smart enough to escape the clutches of global hostage-takers. They were the best. They were trained just like her. She had been trained in the art of impersonation, of deceiving others, just as she had done over the past weeks. She had followed Tracy, picking up the subtleties of her accent, her relationship with her husband, and with her children. As a master in the art of disguise, it caused her no distress to kidnap Tracy and take her place. She was cunning, she knew. But when the Order had decided to kidnap the real Tracy, she had already cemented her disguise. She had no choice but to become Tracy. Now she just wondered how Tracy had escaped. She was just a normal person, nothing special. But she must have outwitted the people at Global, and that wasn't an entirely simple thing to do. Top knew what kind of security there was. Tracy had been given drugs to knock her out, and she had been tied up. She was being guarded by hundreds of people. She would have had to have several key codes to get past any of the doors. The possibility of this bewildered Top. It was impossible, or next to impossible. There must have been someone undercover working at Global Headquarters. It was the only logical explanation. That, or Tracy had been trained in the art of escaping the clutches of the best hostage-takers in the world, and she severely doubted that. "They have taken him hostage." The words echoed throughout Trevor's mind. He had been there. He could have helped him. He thought the Global agents hadn't come to Professor Prazik's office, but he had been wrong. They were there the whole time, probably pointing guns at the professor, forcing him to act as normally as possible. "I'm being held hostage." The words kept flying in and out of Trevor's mind. He had been there, and could have helped the man. He could have kicked himself for not nosing around the office more. The professor must be quick, Trevor thought to himself, for writing that on the papyrus, knowing as well as anything that I'd study it and find it. What he'd not counted on was the day wasted between receiving the documents back and the actual study of the papyrus. "We have to go," he motioned to Shauna. He grabbed up the documents, forcefully placed them in his pockets, and ran out the door. Shauna followed him with a look of confusion on her face. "Where are we going?" she asked breathlessly, following him down several sets of stairs. "To Professor Prazick's office. If he's been kidnapped, he probably won't still be there. His kidnappers would have ensured that." "I don't care," Trevor screamed back. "He's a decent man, and he doesn't need to be involved in all this nonsense." As they raced out onto the street, Trevor hailed a taxi and hurled his body in. "To the New York University Department of Linguistics." The taxi pulled off, leaving Shanna alone on the street. Trevor's mind was racing with questions. Would the professor still be there? Would the people holding him hostage have killed him? What does the professor have that anyone would have wanted, apart from a connection with me? Trevor's thoughts were interrupted by the taxi driver calling his name. "New York University, Linguistic Department, did you say?" Trevor replied absent-mindedly, "Uh-huh." Suddenly he realized, how did the taxi driver know my name? End of chapter 19.